Senator Elizabeth Warren joins me from the campaign trail in Derry, New Hampshire. It's about a 20-minute ride down I-93 from here in Manchester. Senator, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So I guess I'm going to ask you a somewhat loaded question, which is, are you happy to be out of Washington and away from the impeachment trial and on the campaign trail in New Hampshire?
Look, the impeachment trial was my constitutional responsibility. And I was there. I had taken an oath, and it was the right thing to do. Now that that is finished, I am very happy to be here in New Hampshire, to be with voters and people who are really off the sidelines and realize that this election coming up in November is more important than ever. And it is.
There's a number coming out of Iowa that I've been kind of obsessed with. I feel like you might have a better view into it than anyone, which is the total turnout in the caucus. Total turnout in the Iowa caucus was about 2016, but there were a lot of people who thought it would be higher, that it would hit the record in 2008. It was about 170,000. Do you have any concerns about the level of activation, motivation among Democratic voters right now?
Well, I think it tells us that we need to get this party organized, we need to get it together, and we need to get focused on beating Donald Trump. I think the way that we do that is that we have a nominee who has a very clear contrast with Donald Trump. Look, you know what that impeachment trial ultimately was about? It's about corruption. It's about a guy who sold an ambassadorship for $1 million. It's about a guy who thinks that government is just there to make himself and his family and his rich buddies even richer. And that is a kind of corruption that has infected our politics for decades now. It's just that Donald Trump has taken it to new lows. And the fact that he's done that, I think, has started to bring people off the sidelines, started to bring people into this fight who weren't in it before. But here's the thing, into the fight because they want a government that doesn't just work for rich people, doesn't just work for giant corporations, but that works for them. And I think we've got a chance to do that, to bring our party together around that message, to draw that contrast, and frankly, to bring in Democrats and Republicans and independents along with it as well. You know, nobody likes getting cheated. I don't care what political party you're coming from. But that's the kind of American government that we have right now, and that's what we can change in 2020. So I'm all in on this fight.
There's a story in Politico that I saw you responded to, and I just want to get your response to it here on air, about 6 women of color that quit your Nevada campaign with complaints of a toxic work environment and tokenism. One of them went on the record. I saw that you responded to that and apologized. What do you want to say in response to learning about that?
You know, I believe these women without any equivocation. And I apologize personally that they had a bad experience on the campaign. I really work hard to try to build a campaign and a work environment where it's diverse and open and everyone is welcome and celebrated and gets to bring their whole self to work every day. But I'm also very aware that racism and oppression in this country have left a long legacy. And it creates the kind of toxicity where people, power structures, people take advantage of other people. It's something for which we have to be constantly vigilant and constantly determined to do better. I take responsibility for this, and I'm working with my team to address these concerns.
I also want to ask you about a new entrant into the race. Not that new. You've been talking about him a lot. But polling indicates that Michael Bloomberg, who spent over 150 million, going to spend hundreds of millions more, worth billions of dollars, has now been moving up in national polling. He's dropping a lot of money in Super Tuesday. He is going to be on the debate stage in Nevada, not this next debate tomorrow night, but in Nevada, because the DNC essentially changed its rules to put him on the stage. Some people say they had to do that because otherwise he's just spending all this money on advertising and no one can actually talk to him to his face, while others say it's not fair. Where do you come down on that?
Look, this is fundamentally the problem we've got in our democracy right now. We're watching it play out in this Democratic primary. if we are going to be a party, if we're going to be a country where the only way you get to be president of the United States is you either have to start out as a billionaire or you have to spend, 70% of your time sucking up to billionaires and corporate executives and lobbyists, then buckle up, because we're going to have a country that works even better for billionaires and for corporate executives. This is why I made the decision when I first decided to go for run for president, that I was going to fund this through grassroots, that I was not going to spend all of my time sucking up to those folks and worrying about issues that mattered most to them, that I was going to spend my time on the ground. I was going to spend my time with people fighting for a government that works for them. And if you think that's the right way for our democracy to work, then I ask everybody, go to ElizabethWarren.com, pitch in $5, volunteer to make phone calls, do some door knocking. But this is the thing, people have to get in this fight. It's about the issues, but it's also about our democracy.
But I do want an answer to the question, respectfully.
And here's my answer to the question. No, here's my answer to the question. I don't think that billionaires ought to be able to buy their way onto the debate stage. I don't think they ought to be able to buy their way to a nomination, whether they're doing it by reaching in their own pockets or whether they're doing it by funding dark money PACs to help some candidates, or whether they're doing it by bundling checks among their rich friends to be able to make donations to Democratic candidates. I think that the way we ought to fund our campaigns and what we ought to be testing out among Democrats is who can actually build a grassroots campaign, because this is what's fundamentally broken in our democracy. Why do you think we can't get a vote on guns in the Senate right now? Why do you think we can't get a vote on reducing the prices on prescription drugs? Why do you think those things happen? Because those industries continue to control our Congress. And that's going to happen so long as they control our elections as well. 2020, the door has opened just a little for democracy, for a chance to build a grassroots movement. And we're going to build it $5 contributions and $25 contributions at a time. This is our chance to take our government back. So it's not about a rising stock market, but all of the value goes to those at the top. It's about a 2-cent wealth tax and investing in child care for all of our kids, in early childhood education, in canceling student loan debt, in expanding Social Security for those who need it the most. This is about who America works for, and it starts right here with whether we're going to have campaigns that billionaires reach in their pocket and buy them, or we're going to have campaigns that are grassroots funded. I'm in the grassroots funded, ElizabethWarren.com.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.